Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of Focus for 5. Now, I was inspired to make this series of short videos because over the years I've met a lot of people who say to me, I would love to paint more, but I really can't find the time. And we all have times in our lives where our timetable is just packed. And it's very difficult to find the time, to dedicate to something that we love. It might be work commitments or family or health. Whatever it is, it happens to us all. So I thought I'd share one of the techniques that I found helpful in these circumstances. And the idea is if you can just set aside a little 15-minute block of time, then if you allow 5 minutes to get your paints together, 5 minutes to pack away your stuff, then the central 5 minutes are reserved for just painting. So if you want to paint along with me as I'm doing these videos, or you want to try this technique for yourself, then you can use whatever materials and medium you want. But two things I would recommend. The first thing is you want to use some kind of sturdy support for your painting, whether it's canvas or a tough paper. So the paper I'm going to use is Winsor & Newton Galeria pad, and this is an acrylic paper. And the reason I'm using that one is that once the paint's dried, any buckling that occurs with this paper, even if you get it very wet, it seems to disappear and the paper stays nice and flat. The other key thing you'll need is some kind of timer to time 5 minutes. So I'm going to be using this charming chicken, but if you can use whatever system that you want. You can use the timer on your phone or your laptop, obviously, whatever you want, or just the clock on the wall. Now the painting I'm going to work on in this series of videos is going to be similar to this one. It's going to be a town scene with some figures painted in an impressionistic style. And I should say right at the start that I will not be completing a painting to high detailed finish in this series of videos. And there are a few reasons for this really. The 5-minute painting time is really only just enough time to put down some bold brush strokes, but you still can get a lot done. The second reason is quite often an image doesn't need high detailed finish to work well. So for example, in this particular image, I have no intention of ever working this up to a higher level of detail, simply because I like the image the way it is. And then finally, even if during your Focus for 5 sessions you can't take a painting to a highly detailed finish, then you can simply put it away, start on another painting and work that up to this level of finish. And then at a later date, when your timetable becomes more relaxed, you can go to your folder, pull out the paintings that you've been working on, and then when you have more time, spend an hour or two and work on the high levels of precision detail then. Okay, that's the preamble over, so let me just get everything set up on the easel and I'll start painting and talk my way through it as we work. So you can see I have my paper taped to the board, set up on the easel. I've got my timer in place. I have my brush. This is just an old decorating brush and you can see the bristles are very frayed, but I'm going to use this to just put down some background colour. And then my colours for today are cadmium yellow, yellow ochre, magenta, and I'm not sure how well that will show up on camera, but there's a splodge of burnt umber there as well. So I'm just going to begin by setting my timer to 5 minutes. And then with a very wet brush, I'm just going to mix some very thin cadmium yellow. And we'll start to get some colour down on the paper. Now because the paint is thin, you can see that as I apply it, lots of different brush marks are visible. And that's great, that's what I want. I want some texture in my background colour. Now at this stage I don't really have a plan for the picture. I'm simply letting the paint wander across the paper, and I'm just open to what happens. The idea really is just to seal the surface of the paper and also provide a colourful and textured background, some of which may show through in the finished painting. So let's add a little bit of magenta to the mix. And I'll pop that onto the paper where to date I hadn't applied any paint at all. So one of my main goals is just to cover up all of the white paper. And having done that, now let's go over the top of some of this yellow and see what kind of effects we can get as we swirl the brush around. I think I'm going to take a little bit of yellow ochre now. So I haven't cleaned my brush. In these 5-minute sessions, the idea is to be as efficient as possible and to minimise, if you like, the admin aspects of painting. So not too much brush cleaning. We just want to keep things moving in a calm but considered way. Okay, so that's almost there. I think what I'm going to do is, just using some paper towel, I'm going to just apply that to the wet paint to lift off the paint in a few of the areas. Okay, and that's time up. The chicken has spoken. So no matter where I am with the painting, for the technique we're talking about in these videos, I'm going to stop. Now, in terms of keeping our palette clean but ready to go for tomorrow's painting session, what I've done is I've wiped dry the area where I was mixing the paint with a paper towel, and then with a clean paper towel I'm going to place that over the top of the paint I have on the palette, and then I'm going to spray the paper towel with water, and then I'm going to put the whole thing into a plastic bag overnight, and that should stop the acrylic drying out. I'm going to let that dry overnight, and then I'll come back tomorrow having sort of mulled over what I'm going to paint, and we'll start to put down some line. Thanks very much for watching this one. Hope to see you tomorrow.